Right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It would seem that Good Morning America has a jury member from the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, and they're speaking out and kind of just revealing some snippets and bits and pieces of, I guess, the thoughts, the mindset behind why they, I guess, voted in favour of Johnny Depp. But it's an interesting stuff, so we're going to break it down and just have a look at it together, because it's fascinating stuff. To me, it's always interesting to see how they line up with what the general populace thinks, because, they are in a different position to what we were watching this trial online. So let's take a look, ladies and gents. So this is the Good Morning America sort of website, anyway. So here we have it. So a juror in the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defamation trial said in an interview that aired today on Good Morning America that when the actress cried during her testimony, the jury saw only crocodile tears. You don't say. Like, let's be honest, that's what everyone saw. So that's good. I'm glad. I'm very, very glad. It didn't come across as believable, he said. It seemed like she was able to flip the switch on her emotions. She would answer one question, and she would be crying, and 2 seconds later, she would turn ice cold. It didn't seem natural. And that is exactly what everyone watching thought. I don't think there's one person, unless, you're a Amber sort of sycophant, that was watching that thinking anything other than this. Because when those objections came in, apparently I'm so sweaty I can't click my fingers. She flicked on and off. That was it, done. Tears gone. And then they'd come back. You're like, what? It's just weird behaviour. Now, with respect to Depp, he said, it just seemed a little more real in terms of how he responded to questions. Which he was. Absolutely more real. Very, very, very much real. Just owned his issues, just said, yeah, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And that's actually something which Camille Vasquez and Ben Chu said when they then did their sort of first interview, was that, he was his authentic self. He owned up to the issues that he had. He said he wasn't perfect, and that goes a long, long way. A hell of a long way. Now, the juror, one of 7 juries during the 6-week trial, spoke exclusively to GMA and is the only juror on record to speak publicly about the case. He asked to have his name not used for this report. So in early June, a jury of Fairfax, blah, blah, blah. So this is obviously what we know. But then there's stuff like this, like, why would you buy the other person a knife? Again, I think the beauty of the statements here, I've colour corrected now, I don't look so like a pink blancmange. I think the beauty of all of this is he's literally saying a lot of the stuff that Camille Vasquez closed with, like, well, why would you do this? Why would you do that? The logical inconsistencies at play in people's behaviour, Amber's behaviour, which is great. So Heard's credibility was suspect throughout the duration of the trial, the juror said. Besides how she acted on the stand, several other factors led the jury to believe Heard was not credible, the juror said. The jury concluded they were both abusive to each other, but Heard's team failed to prove Depp's abuse was physical. I concur. I mean, he didn't say some particularly pleasant things to her. Most of the stuff that he said was to other people, which, that's fine. Who cares? What's the issue? It's not great, but it's not abuse to one another, is it? They had their husband and wife arguments. They're both yelling at each other. I don't think that makes either of them right or wrong, but that's what you do when you get into an argument, I guess. But to rise to the level of what she was claiming, there wasn't enough or any evidence that really supported what she was saying. I mean, there wasn't. All the evidence was to the contrary. Oh yeah, you've had like a bottle jammed up your japsy, your cooch, and you've done nothing. You've not gone to hospital. Behave. You thought you were internally bleeding and you never went to hospital. Please, come on. So Heard, the juror said, was considered the aggressor in the relationship by the majority of the jury. If you have a battered wife or spouse situation, why would you buy the other person, the aggressor, a knife? If you really wanted to help Johnny Depp get off drugs, why are you taking drugs around him? He asked. Again, all things that Camille Vasquez closed with. Again, proving why she's such a good lawyer. So Heard testified she purchased Depp a large knife as a gift, and it's huge. That knife, when you saw it in person, was massive. When they actually brought the knife out, fuck me, that's a... It's almost like, you know, like, call that a knife? This is a knife. Like, fuck me, that's insane. Absolute madness. The juror said that the photographs Heard took of her ex-husband also fell flat, although the defence used them to show Depp's decrepit state after a drug or alcohol binge. The juror said they failed to make an impact. I mean, he just looked like he was asleep. I mean, what's the issue? If you mix alcohol and marijuana, that's where you usually end up, passed out, he said. We discussed at length that a lot of the drugs she said he used, most of them were downers, and you usually don't get violent on downers. You become a zombie, as those pictures show. That's funny. That's interesting, you know. That's not something which they sort of use as an argument, but that's an interesting perspective from, you know, from the jury to take. It's a good one because it significantly, I mean, it just shows that they're a bit more on the ball. That's great. In his testimony, Depp also admitted to cocaine use, a stimulant, and Heard testified he was frequently doing the drug in her presence. But yeah, no. No makeup, no credibility. So the juror also said that the jury essentially dismissed all witnesses on both sides who are employees, paid experts, friends, or family from either side. So that's everyone then. That's literally everyone. Also suspect with the photos. That's literally everyone. And, well, no. TMZ, the owner of the trailer park. Anyway, that's still a lot of people that they chose to dismiss. I am surprised by that. Also suspect were the photos that Heard's team presented that purported to show bruising on the actress's face. 2 photos presented near the end of the trial were not credible to the jury, he said. They believed the accusation by Depp's team that one photo was edited to artificially redden Heard's face to suggest bruising. Heard testified the photos looked different because of a vanity light. I mean, that's bollocks. It was very clearly, like, you know, I've just adjusted the saturation here because the way the lighting here is in the room, like, it makes me ultra red otherwise. So, you know, you can adjust these things. You can adjust them, and that's clearly what they did. They just turned the, like, saturation up to make it look more red. Those are 2 different pictures. We couldn't really tell which picture was real and which one was not, the juror told. So that's the other thing as well. Like, if you're going to lie about this stuff, like, just bring 1 image. Like, why did you bring 2? What was the point in putting 2? I mean, obviously, you know, part of the evidence was probably from Johnny Depp, but you'd think, like, yeah, hide the fake one, or hide the real one. If you're going to lie about it, only supply the fake one. The juror also said the defence failed Heard by telling them that the actress never goes outside without makeup on. Yet she goes to file the restraining order without makeup on. And it just so happens her publicist is with her. Those things add up and starts to become hard to believe. That's hilarious. Again, not something which I mean, you know, we all know that she clearly goes outside without makeup on. Like, it's pretty obvious. But don't sit there and say, I never go outside without makeup on. Especially, and again, something which I didn't specifically pick up on. Yeah, I mean, you went to file a restraining order without makeup on. Why would you do that unless it's a setup, which TMZ ex-employee corroborated? Oh, this is hilarious. $7 million donation that never happened was a fiasco for Heard. The juror said the 4-hour debate over the difference between a pledged donation and an actual donation ended up a fiasco for Heard. I mean, how can you have a 4-hour debate? On the stand, Heard testified she never finished donating $7 million from a divorce settlement to 2 charities because she didn't want Depp to reap the tax benefits by sending her settlements to the charities directly. Heard testified that a pledge and a donation are synonymous with one another and mean the same thing. The jury was shown video of Heard on a Dutch talk show say that she gave it to charity. Obviously, she didn't give anything at all. The fact is, she didn't give much of it away at all, the juror said. It was disingenuous. Interesting. It sounds like they're saying here they had a 4-hour debate on it. I hope not, because that's not much to debate. Maybe they're talking about on the stand, but it doesn't seem like it. So he blamed Heard's legal team for giving her poor advice, such as looking directly at the jury when responding to questions. All of us were very uncomfortable at that, he said. It's good to know. It's Good to know. Because we were all like, that's weird. He also said her team had sharp elbows versus being sharp. Interesting phrase. They would cut people off in cross because they wanted one specific answer without context. They're forcing people to just answer a very narrow question, which was obvious, he said. She needs better advice. That's gold. Oh, that's so gold. Oh, it's brilliant. So, publishing the 2018 op-ed in the Washington Post that defamed Depp was a poor choice, he said. If she didn't do any of this stuff with the op-eds, Johnny Depp could have helped her out in her career. They didn't leave things on a nasty turn. It turned nasty after the op-ed. What an interesting observation, and true. We only looked at the evidence. The juror denied that the jury was swayed by outside forces. He and at least 3 others did not have Twitter accounts. Yeah, some of them were quite old in this. Some people said we were bribed. That's not true. Social media did not impact us. We followed the evidence. We didn't take into account anything outside the courtroom. We only looked at the evidence. They were very serious accusations and a lot of money involved, so we weren't taking it lightly. Good. That just debunks all of that. The juror also said that no one on the jury was starstruck and their individual celebrity never played a factor into their decision. While he admitted he knew of Depp more than Hurt, he hadn't seen many of his films. None of us were really fans of either of them. Asked whether he would go to a future movie starring Depp or Heard, the juror said it would depend on the movie. What they do in their personal lives doesn't affect me whatsoever. Going to movies is entertainment. I go for the quality of the movie or the storyline, he said, not for the acting. Well, you're certainly not going to get that from Amber Heard. So, and that's about it, ladies and gents. What an absolute gold interview. What do you think? Let me know down below. Cheers. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out my Teespring store. Supporting the channel via this way does go a long way. But also, not only that, you do get to wear some awesome merch. These are one-of-a-kind designs designed for me by my graphic designer. We, of course, have our Clown World line, which is in mugs, hoodies, t-shirts. We've got Space Jeebus. And then for something a little bit different, we, of course, have right down at the bottom right here, we have our Pulsar GTIR. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out and supporting my second channel, which is Car Nonsense. This is a vlog and car channel. You can find links to this in the description box, along with my Teespring. Please do consider supporting.